Hey, how we doing? How we doing, guys? We are here
Hey.
once again for another episode of the Shout Out Podcast today. We've got a guest. We're so excited to have this guest on. We've played her a couple of times before. We've seen her play. She's brilliant. Welcome to the show, Amber Lilly. How you doing, Amber?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I do have to say, that is an awesome looking guitar behind you.
It's a great
This,
backdrop.
Uh,
this
that
one.
one. That is so.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you play
No,
that one before.
no, this was my first ever guitar and it's got plastic strings, so it's awful.
Oh,
And I sticker bombed it.
I can tell. That's
Yeah.
wicked, man. That's
That was
wicked.
a big phase, when it stickers all over the
Yeah.
guitars. I
We
remember
love
everyone having
stickers and
them.
everything. I'm
Yeah,
glad I never
the
actually put
phase
one on
for
my
me was
guitar.
about 2.5 years ago. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
That's
cool.
wicked, man. So you headlined the show on Friday at
Yeah.
O'Neill's in Soho.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was a
It
really
was
good
so,
show,
so
Really
man.
good.
good gig.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. I
Yeah,
couldn't
that
believe
set you
it.
put together was really nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I had a
Yeah.
great time.
It was packed, wasn't it?
I know.
It
It was
was really
absolutely
busy.
crazy. I
Yeah,
know.
it was
Yeah.
great.
It was very, surreal. I didn't think there was going to be that many people, but
No,
there were just people everywhere.
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah, great.
We've done a few more than that gig though with yourself. We've done
Yeah,
Space Fest famously. We've done
Yeah, that's where we met.
yeah.
that was the first time. Yeah, that
It
was the
was
That
first time
actually,
we
was,
met, wasn't it?
yeah, because of Steve Simpson.
yeah.
Always something to do
Uh,
with
It
our
always is.
favourite person. Steve is one
our
of my
favorite.
favourite people in life.
Yes,
Shout out to Steve. Steve gets a shout out most
Yeah.
episodes, really, because
of
he
course.
definitely
Of
deserves it.
course.
He really deserves it.
But it was funny
So
though. It was Steve
yeah.
actually said about yourself for Space Fest, and then we'd also done Steve's Mix 92.6 night
Mm.
with
hmm
Live and
Oh, at the
local.
Pioneer. Yes,
yeah,
in St Albans. Yeah, that was a great night.
That was
yeah.
wicked,
I
yeah.
think there's another one coming up as well. I'm pretty
There
sure I
is.
saw an email from him earlier.
Yeah.
Ooh,
End of
Yeah.
April, he's got one
ooh,
coming up.
Watch this space.
Exclusive.
nice. This is
Ex-
the first time you're hearing about it,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. What was it like when you first got approached by Steve to say like, I love your music, I want to play it on the radio, I want to have you on? What was going through your head at that point?
Well, at first I thought it was someone else, but
Yeah.
when I discovered who it was, no, it was awesome. Yeah, it was crazy to think that. Or he said that his wife loved Ammunition,
Yeah.
Mm.
and that meant so much to me. So, and that was the first song I'd ever released. I think
Mm.
Steve was the first, like person who I really spoke to in like radio sense, and
Mm.
yeah, Mix 92.6. Just shamelessly plugging. I'm sure I've got the. There you go, guys.
Hey, I normally wear the hat.
You're
This
not
is the
wearing the
second
hat,
episode I've
Dan.
got it.
Oh,
If I
that
get the
is.
hat, I'm not going to get a hat. I'll wear it next episode.
Completely.
Yeah, no, yeah, Steve was the first person I really spoke to in that, like
Mm.
outside the small music community that I'm
Yeah,
in. So yeah, it was so awesome, and he's so supportive of
he is.
local musicians. He really brings people together, so it's awesome.
You can tell that he really like genuinely cares about it. He's not
Absolutely.
just like he likes the radio,
Uh huh.
he really wants
Yeah.
local music to independent
Uh
artists
huh.
to thrive.
Yeah, he creates so many opportunities
He does.
for
Mm.
musicians.
Mm.
Awesome to see.
Yeah. So that was that pretty early on in your music career, you'd say, or was that kind of was
Yeah.
that
So
getting to that point?
I think he was the first person that I went and like played music on the radio for and played
Mm.
Ammunition, which was my first song that I released.
So you only had one song out at that point.
Yeah. So I released Ammunition last March, I believe, so about a year ago.
Mm.
And yeah, then since then, every song that I ever play, Steve's all over it. So yeah,
Yeah, that's so good to hear.
right,
That's so good to hear.
yeah.
What was it like starting up gigging? Like how did that whole process come about then?
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, I done my first ever open mic at my local pub. It's called the
Mhm.
Sheldon Inn in Welwyn Garden City.
Shout
And
out.
yeah, shout out.
Let's
And I
go.
There's
couldn't
the
play the
first one.
guitar then. I'm pretty sure I played this. Can you see it? Oh no, this side. Ukulele, right
Oh,
there.
no way.
Yeah, I couldn't even play the guitar then. I played the ukulele. And this guy called Wayne, who is now the guitarist in my band, came up to me and was like, "Oh, you should be in a band." And
Mm.
I feel like lots of people say lovely things to you when you come off stage, and you just kind of take it with a pinch of salt. You're like, "Oh, thank you, thank you."
Mm.
Yeah.
And then a week later, he came back to the pub and was like, "No, seriously, I want you in a band. And he was in a different band at the time, and he was like, I want to start a new band, blah blah blah. He was like, would you be interested in coming for an audition? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I turned up at Farm Factory Studios, shout out.
Already?
You're good at this.
Yeah, so I turned up there, and at the time, I think the lineup was Wayne, who was the rhythm guitarist. We had a lead guitarist called Tony, JK, who was a drummer, and Voya, who is still the bass player. Yeah, and it just went really cool. And after that, they were like, "Yep, absolutely, let's start this band." And it's called AJ and the Heads. I'm AJ.
It's a great name as well.
It was AJ and the I don't know, I won't swear. D Heads.
You can swear.
Yeah. Okay, it was AJ and the Dickheads, but it's not very PC. So then it's now just AJ and the Heads, and I sort of introduced them as the Dickheads, but at least on a big backdrop, if there's children, it doesn't just say
that's a good marketing word. I kind of prefer AJ and the Heads. I think it's nice and punchy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Snappy.
Yeah. And then from then I was like, oh God, now I'm in this band with all these people that have been there lots older than me. It ranges from like 40 to 60, the rest of the people in my band. And I was like, oh, they've been doing this for more than I've been alive. And I was just fresh out of the music. Yeah. And I was like, I need to get some confidence. I need to be because they were like, oh, you're the front woman, meaning you've got to be like this person in the band. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never done anything like this before. So I just started going to more open mics on my own to get some more like confidence. That's when I taught myself the guitar. And started writing music, and then about 2.5 years ago, that's when I started like playing the guitar, and then it just gave me the sort of access to be able to write my own music, which is something I've always thought about. I always kind of wrote like poems and raps because I never knew how to play an instrument, so it was always just words. And then so I started writing my own stuff and gigging on my own, which was it was pretty crazy to go from that a couple years ago to doing it as like my full-time job now. So
with AJ and the Heads, it was all covers.
So we're a pop rock punk band. Covers. We do one of my originals, which we've learned recently.
So you still gig with AJ and the Heads, and as like a separate act.
Yeah, we've had a few different lineup changes. So now we've got Tom, who's our drummer, and Ed, who's our guitarist. We've still got Boyer and Wayne. But so we're back to gigging. We had to take like 6 months off. Until January, I believe, just to sort out the lineup change and to get our sets all sorted. But we're back to gigging now, so it's good fun.
That's great. That's so cool, like doing the solo artist thing with the acoustic guitar and then being able to do it with a band as well.
It's good fun,
don't you?
Yeah, and I've got my own band called Amber Lilly and the Red Greens. And we just do like all of the songs that I do, all of my originals, and like the songs that I do, like 99 Red Balloons, I'm a Believer, all of that kind of stuff that you normally hear me play on my own, but just with band, and it's cool.
You've only been playing for like 3 years then,
Yes,
that's crazy. It sounds like from like listening to your music that you're like an established songwriter, been doing it for like a long time.
I don't know about that.
I genuinely didn't know that you'd only been doing it for a few years.
You would think you've been doing it out of the womb, honestly, when you see
it. Thank you.
It's incredible.
It's crazy to think. I don't even know how it's happened, but it's happening. So
it's happening.
Take it as it goes.
This journey has now taken you to this point now where you've just released your first EP. What's that like? That was
released on the 7th of March. No, 7th of February.
About a month now.
So about a month. And then I had an EP launch party at the Hertford Club, Hertford. Shout out.
Yes.
And that went awesome. So I do everything I do. I do to raise money for Mind mental health charity. And I had a difficult time a few years back, and when I come out of that, the other side of that, I really thought I want to help people, and that's why I started writing music about mental health and sort of expressing my emotions but putting it into music. And then I found that it's helped other people, so that's awesome.
That's incredible.
And with the EP launch, we raised like £820 for Mind.
Wow.
That's an unbelievable amount of money to raise in one night.
It was awesome.
The energy in there must have been crazy.
It
There's
was.
other bands playing, I understand, yeah?
Yeah, so I had
Yeah.
so originally I was like, oh, let's do this like thing, maybe from like 6 till 10, 4 hours should be enough. And I put out a post on social media like, oh, I'm doing this thing. If anyone wants to play, because I know so many musicians, I was
Mm.
like, if anyone's interested in playing, like drop me a message. And within 2 hours, I had a whole lineup of 14 different people, and it turned from a 6 till 10 situation to a 2 till midnight situation. So I
It's a
was
whole
like,
day
okay,
fest.
a whole
10
day festival,
hours.
yeah. Um, and it was a lot of work and a lot of stress, but it was all worth it in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
must have
crazy,
been.
and I still had to turn people away, and I felt so bad. So people are
Yeah.
still asking me now, like, "Oh, you're gonna do another one soon,"
Mm.
and have like a different people on the lineup, and I'm like, "Whoa, guys,
Calm
I
down.
can't write songs this quick. I wish I
Yeah,
could, but yeah."
yeah,
So maybe, hopefully, the beginning of next year, I'll do
mm,
like an album launch,
yeah.
and we'll
Nice.
redo it all over again. So, and you guys hopefully will be on the lineup.
Cool.
We'll be there.
Oh,
Maybe we'll see. That'd be great.
uh
Let's talk more about the EP because
huh.
there's some great tracks on the EP. You re-released Just for a Minute and Ammunition as a kind of different version. How did those
And
versions come
you'll be
about?
fine as well. Yeah.
And You'll Be Fine.
So
So,
basically, I'd obviously released them as singles, and I just
mm,
found like I was releasing a song to then write a song to release a song, and I
mm,
kind of wanted to hold a few back and do it as like a whole thing. And I had this idea of Exposed. So me and my friend Fran Ingemel, she's an awesome photographer. Shout out. Um, and she, you're loving this.
I'm gonna have a little
um,
countdown actually on the side.
Dan, you're fired. You're out.
This is
I've been
unbelievable.
hosting
yeah.
every episode.
Yeah, so we done like a photo shoot, and one of the pictures that we took, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And it was actually really funny because it's a picture of me, and it's like this. You can see
Mm,
right up my
Mm.
nose. Thankfully, just yeah, my nose didn't have anything in it, thankfully. But yeah, so it was a very exposed photo of me,
yeah, it
and
was.
I was like, "Okay, cool." And someone was
Mm,
like, "Oh, that's a very exposed photo," and I was like, I like that." And then I always had this idea of like doing a stripped back version of the songs that I do that are a bit more like how I do them on stage.
yeah.
Because it's all very well like having the full production versions and it's all like drums and everything, but when you are up there on your own and you don't have a band, it's like I kind of wanted to show that kind of side of things and not completely stripped back, but stripped back enough where it's not like a full band kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I think you got
And
the balance just right because
yeah,
it is stripped back, but there's so many little elements that you hear, like the piano parts in some of the songs, and like the some of the electric guitar parts as well. Just a little touch of it that just really like build up so much drama
oh,
in the songs. It's great.
thank you. That's all down to Rob Clydesdale.
Is
Shout
it?
out. He
Yeah.
is my producer, and yeah, he was in a band that played with David Bowie, so he's
Wow.
very well established. He's an
Mm,
awesome, awesome guy, and he's very good at making your music your own and not sort of taking over as a producer.
yeah.
He's been great to work with. But yeah, so I had this idea of stripping back some of the songs, and then the other three that are on there. So Sweet Night Calling, That Night, and Lighthouse. That's the other one. So yeah, we done all that as like an exposed, stripped back EP,
Yeah.
and then other than Sweet Night Calling, that's staying how it is. I kind of liked that the way it was. But with That
Yeah.
Night and Lighthouse, I do have full production like versions
Yeah.
recorded that
Nice.
I'll be releasing over the next few months.
Ooh, excited for
Yeah,
that.
You played Lighthouse on Friday, right? Because I recognised it from Steve's gig and stuff. I
yeah.
love Lighthouse.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah. It's weird because so many of my songs, even though they all have that message of like mental health, I tried to get a different element in. Sorry, that's my dog in the background.
it's okay.
Echo, stop.
Shout
Um,
out.
Shout out,
and
dogs.
yeah, so I tried to get this like element of different parts of it, and it doesn't come by like me going, "Oh, I want to write about this." It's kind of like my own situations and feelings.
Mm,
And Lighthouse especially was rather than trying to tell someone like, "Oh, it's going to be okay," blah 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 blah. It was more about looking after yourself and like you're always that lighthouse for people. And so many people say to me, "Oh, I'm there for my friends, I'm there for my family, I'm there for my partners." But I'm never really there for myself, and I've found that I do that a lot. I'm always there for everybody else, but I don't. I feel like so many people can relate to the fact that they put themselves last in that kind of pile,
Mm.
mm.
and I think it's so important to be your own lighthouse and to be your own kind of way of getting through things rather than everybody else's at times. So that's where Lighthouse came from.
It's a great message.
It's a really
It's
Yeah,
nice
a really
message.
important message for a lot of people.
thank you.
Really is. Can I talk a little bit more about like kind of the production and the how you create the songs, because I'm a guitarist, you know this.
Uh-huh.
Some of the guitar parts in the EP on the new ones, I want to talk
Uh-huh.
about the Sweet Night Calling acoustic guitar part is just an absolute masterclass for me.
Ah,
I could
thank
listen to just the guitar part over and over again. Is that
oh.
who came up with that?
So it was kind of me and Rob together. He's very good at kind of like he's just a mastermind when it comes to
Yeah.
instruments. He's got so many different instruments that we don't even like. Like he just whipped out a recorder once, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen that since '5.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so cool. Just kind of being like, oh, I kind of like this, like a diddle
Mm,
or like a just you
yeah.
just can do something, and he'll just go, oh, what like this, and you're like, yes,
Mm.
exactly that. Sorry, she's spinning around chasing a tail. Echo. um, yeah, so he's very good at kind of coming up with like you just kind of give him sound like a and he'll just do
Yeah.
it, and it's
I
crazy
just feel the
because I
stuff.
could never play that myself.
Mm.
But he's very very good at what he does. And then like a lot of the thing I think with Ammunition, that because it was my first song I'd ever recorded, I needed so much help from him. And
Mm.
even though it's still my own stuff, even with like the harmonies and stuff, I just didn't even know where to start because I'd never done anything like that before.
Mm.
And then over the time that I've sort of like worked with him, and he's even said himself like, wow, you're really getting like the hang of this, and I'll come up with my own harmonies and come up with my own stuff. And
Yeah.
he's just helped me kind of get to the point where I kind of know what I'm doing now, that I can go, this is exactly what I want. And yeah, whereas I think with Ammunition I was like, I've never been here before, never done this before,
Yeah.
I don't know, just help me. But yeah, he's very good at helping me to become my own person. So yeah, and then
Yeah.
What are
he
the
was
song
creative.
like? What are your influences? Because you mentioned earlier, like you used to write poems and rap. Like, what are
Mm-hmm.
the influences going into your music?
So for a long time, I've listened to a lot of like Dermot Kennedy. I feel like he
Hmm.
has a really profound way with his lyrics that kind of get to me, especially on like a different kind of level. And yeah, so I just found that the way that he made me feel with his music, I wanted to do that for other people. And like I said, I was went through a rough patch a few years ago, and I was in hospital, and I think one of the main things that got me out of like dark places was listening to his music and other artists as well, but predominantly Dermot Kennedy, and the way
Yeah.
that his lyrics and songs made me feel. I just wanted to do that for other people, and I've always sort of written poems and stuff. I've always been into creative writing, I suppose,
Mm.
even when I was back at like school, writing stories and kind of doing that, but never, like I said, couldn't play an instrument well enough to be able to
Yeah.
do anything.
But you
Um,
got such a good voice. Have you always had a voice like that, or did you have to learn how to bring that forward? So is it-
um, so I don't. I guess I've always enjoyed singing.
Yeah.
And then my sister's a singer. She sings in America. My other
Oh
sister
wow.
Oh,
sings.
cool.
Yeah, a lot of my I've got four sisters,
Oh, wow.
and all of us, I guess, sing a bit.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, my mum sings, but I've never actually heard it. But yeah, so I don't know where we've all got it
Mm.
from. Hello. And yeah, so we've always been sort of a musical family, I suppose. But I never really done anything with it. And then when I was 18, 17 or 18, I'd done a competition called Three Music Competition. Shout out. And
I
and it was
haven't
like
heard of
a
that. What is it?
Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, Buckinghamshire,
Oh, yeah.
like music. It was like the 10-year anniversary, and that was the last year they'd ever done it.
Oh, cool.
And I done that competition, and in that we had to, because it was a 10-year anniversary, they wanted to do something different. So as well as doing the song that we auditioned with and performed on the night or whatever it was we had to like team up with other people from our district. So I guess
Mm.
think mine was like Welling Hatfield. So all
Mm.
the contestants in Welling Hatfield teamed up, all the ones in like East Herts teamed up, and wherever else they were, and we had to write our own song and perform it on the night. And it wasn't a part of like the competition, it was just this thing that they were doing because it was
Oh,
like
cool.
10-year anniversary
Mm.
last year, let's do something
Yeah.
cool. And I teamed up with three awesome people, and we had like people to help us with the music and all of that kind of stuff. And that was the first, I think, experience I had of writing a song. And I mean, the lyrics I'd used, I'd already written. They were in my phone as like a rap or poem kind of
Mm.
thing. and I was just like, oh, what about this? And everyone was like, oh my gosh, we love that. Okay,
Yeah.
and again, it was about mental health even back then. And I think the song, we called it "You're Not Alone Here," and it was so great. And we had everyone kind of like chiming in. We had a rapper that was like in the competition,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, so it was just awesome. That was my first like thing of ever writing a song and performing it, and it was just so awesome. And then I watched the video back of me doing my song. I think I sang an Adele song or something like that, and I have this weird thing, T-Rex arms. I don't know why, but I don't realize I'm doing it when I'm singing. But when I watch the videos back, I'm like, oh, what is this that I keep doing? And I was like, I need to fix that. I need to do something about that. And that's when I was like, I need to learn an instrument. Okay, so I learned the ukulele to put something in my arms. And then yeah, a couple of years ago I learned the guitar. But yeah, I just needed to do something with my arms, and yeah.
What an inspiration
Uh,
to learn guitar.
all the motivation you needed.
Yeah,
One
absolutely.
video of you singing.
Yeah, it was awful. But and I guess with the singing, like I said, I've always enjoyed it. I never had singing lessons. I think I had one in like year 9, and I went into it and they wanted me to sing opera, and that wasn't me. So I walked out and I never returned. Typical teenager. I just didn't like being told what to do, I think. Yeah, and then I didn't really do anything with it. I never had I think when I look back at videos now of a few years ago, at open mics and stuff, my vocals have changed so much, and that's probably a lot to do with the rock pop punk band. We do a lot of like belty songs,
Yeah.
so I've learned to control my voice a lot more, learned like how my range actually is, rather than just kind of go, oh, I like to sing this song. So it's just all through like experience with doing it, and
Yeah.
even when I look at videos a year ago, I'm completely different to then, and hopefully I'll keep improving. But
I
yeah,
suppose this early on, you're going to be changing and developing and so
absolutely.
much in your career. That's
Mm.
really cool to hear. Like you gigging a lot at the moment, aren't you? You're
Yeah,
like very,
yeah,
very
an
busy.
insane amount.
How I speak to that. How did it build? Was it like from day one you were just going all out, or has it built up slowly over time?
I don't know. I feel like it kind of like I get dips and I get highs kind of
Okay.
thing over the past few years. Um, I go to a lot of open mics, and I think it's really important to go and support other local
Yeah.
musicians. And I'm out, even though on weekends I'm doing gigs. On the weekdays, most day nights, I'm out at other music events supporting
Mm.
other people. And you kind of you kind of get in the community. And Hartford, especially for me, has been like a great place to be. It's like the music central of Hertfordshire, and there's so many musicians there and so many events going on constantly. You
There's
just
loads
sort
of
of, once
music
you're in the
venues.
circuit, you get known,
Mm.
and then people just ask you all the time to be like, oh, can you do this event, or I'm doing this charity event. And I've just made an effort to do all of that, and anyone that asks me, I'm like, yep, I'm there, cool. Any open mic, I'm like, yep, cool, I'm there, as much as I can. And then you kind of, yeah, I just sort of became in the community. Maybe, I think mainly maybe around a year ago.
Mm.
I sort of got more in the community, like the music community, and especially over the past 6 months, I've really applied myself to doing that,
Cool.
and yeah, and it seems to be working out.
Yeah.
So,
It's great to hear that you're doing that with original music because you can tell that your music is really speaking to people in an important way.
ah,
Mm.
When you're able to build that kind of community with your own original music, it's
mhm.
not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, no, it is. It's difficult, especially because a lot of the gigs I do are like pub gigs, and
Mm.
predominantly pubs don't want originals bands anymore. And well, I
Yeah.
say anymore. It's a shame, but I guess I do. I kind of understand it. If you're sitting there, you want a night out. You don't want to
Yeah.
listen to me singing about my sad life, but
We do, we
yeah,
would.
He'll
yeah,
be
of
there.
course, of course. But people kind of want the upbeat party
Yeah.
songs, and it's like, okay, I understand that. And when you're doing 2 hour gigs, you have to kind of do cater for everyone.
Yeah.
And I try to do that, and I try to do so many genres and so many decades of music,
Mm.
and just go all over the place and do things that I think that everyone's going to enjoy. And then if I do like a 2 hour gig, I tend to slip in about like 25 minutes of my own songs anyway, just dot
Yeah.
them in. And my trick is just don't introduce them as an original, and just sing them,
Yeah.
and no one knows.
Yeah.
No one
I bet
knows.
that would work.
And
I
when
bet that
people
would
come
work
up
for
to
your
you and go,
music.
"Oh, what was that song you sang?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, that was actually original. I didn't even know it."
Sneaky, I like
But
it.
Yeah, you just got to sneak them in where you can. And then with the open mics and stuff, that's just such a great way to promote your own music. And like with charity events and things like that. And I done one yesterday. It was awesome. So the Old Cross Tavern in Hertford, shout out, do every month
This is a record
Sunday
now. This is a
acoustic
record.
sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, we start counting them.
They do Sunday acoustic sessions each month. And they have like a different person hosting each month, and then that person has to find like 3 or 4 local artists to come and play. And it's such a cool like concept,
Such a
because
great idea.
rather than having like an open mic where you go up and do 2 or 3 songs and you're just about getting into it before you've kind of got to go again, it's more like half an hour and you go up there and showcase your own kind of stuff. And it's such a cool like way to do it. And I hosted one back in January. Last night was hosted by Paul Barnett of the Wayward Sons. Shout out. Yeah, so yeah, no, it's just a really cool thing. And I got there last night and I was like, oh, Paul, would you want covers or originals? And he was like, oh, originals, showcase yourself. And I'm like, I love that. I love hearing that.
Nice.
And it's like, awesome, perfect, thank you. That's what I need. So yeah, it's just just trying to be as out there as I can, and always going to support other people's music always helps. And you just kind of the music community is so massive, and it's just it's so giving as well. I feel like people just are all about supporting each other, and I think my idea of this a few years ago was very scary, because I was like, oh, everyone's just out there kind of for themselves, but it's not like that at all. Everyone just wants to support other people, and it's just so great to see.
That's great to see. Yeah. Rewinding a tiny bit, you said you sneak in about 25 minutes of your own music. Is there more music on the way that you've written? I think I've only really heard the songs that are released now. Is there more to come?
Yeah, so there's the 6 that I've done, and then over the next few months I'll be releasing the full production versions of those. There's also, I'm going to be doing like live versions of those that I'm releasing, which were done by a company called Hotvox, and I went to like a studio in London and they recorded it, and it was so cool. And that's actually, the page of that goes live tomorrow, and I'm raising money for War Child, like who we raised money for last week. And it's like a 3-week page that's open, and on the 18th of March the show goes live, and I think it's about half an hour, and it's me and Pete playing in like this really cool studio. It was surreal being there. There were so many cameras and I didn't know where to look, and they were like, oh, you just got to talk like you're talking to an audience, and that's so hard when it was like 3 months ago and I'm trying to talk about things in future. So I'm like, as you'd have known, my EP came out last month, and Pete was like, no, it's not coming out for 3 months. Yes, Pete, I know, we're in the future right now. It's such a great experience, and I'm excited for that to come out. So
we're really excited for that.
Yeah.
So this episode will be out after that, but we'll be posting it on our socials.
That's awesome.
That's great.
I feel like, so we had to come up with things to kind of raise money, and there was the things I came up with, things like, the pics from the session, a signed lyric sheet, I'll write a song for you, I'll dedicate a song. And then I kind of must have been in an impulsive something, because I put out I don't know why I've done this, and I'm so like stressed about it now. So for £70 of donation, I've put that someone can come to my house and I'll cook them dinner. And in my head at the time, it was like, that's going to be great. What a great thing for £70. Now I'm like, oh wait, I haven't thought about the logistics of some stranger at my house and me cooking dinner. And the more people I've told about it, they're like, are you sure about that? And I'm like, yeah, no, actually, now I think about it, I'm not actually sure about it, but it's out there. So
if anyone fancies a carbonara,
what are you going to cook? What's your signature dish?
I don't actually know. I didn't think about that. I thought like I was going to ask them what they wanted, and hopefully I don't get like chloroformed or something. Might just have to have a bouncer on the door. I know enough bouncers, so I might.
Is it only one person? Can only one person win that? Or is it everyone who donates £70?
No. So I set limits on these things.
Right.
So there's another one where you can go for a date with me and Pete, not just me. I feel like that's a different kind of competition. So me and Pete and the person.
Maybe have Pete as your assistant chef, just so we've got two.
Yeah. But yeah, so And I also done like, pick the pattern, because I get a different pattern shaved in my head
Oh,
every
wicked.
week. So I was like, pick the pattern I shave in
That
my
could
head.
go really wrong as well.
Oh,
We
I
are
know,
donating the space dog for this. Hang on. How much do we have to donate for this?
I think it's £40.
Okay.
We will donate £40
We're doing it.
and we'll get the rest of the spacemen.
NRFTS.
Okay.
The rest of the
fine.
spacemen.
That's better than all the other things that people have said that they're gonna.
Yeah.
So
We'll save you on that one. That's gonna
please
be
do
wicked. I love that.
that. Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
So I've made a lot of regretful decisions about this, but it's all for charity. So let's hope that.
Oh, that's so exciting.
I've just got to beg people that I know and go, look, Mum, please can you just pay £70 and I'll make it. Yeah.
It's for a good cause. It's for a genuinely, really, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
It will work out.
Any other shout outs you want to get out? Like, I mean, I know you're so busy, you're gigging so much, you probably don't have time to list them all off. But like, I mean, you got the War Child thing going, that's huge.
Yeah, and on the 22nd, I think it's the 22nd. Let me actually check before
Double check.
Date. On the 22nd of March, at the White Lion in Bengio, the Wayward Sons are hosting a like a charity festival day, similar to like how mine was, for like a defibrillator charity. So that should be pretty cool. Doing that one. There's so much coming up. I literally, I'd need another hour to list everything.
That's great.
But yeah, that one is going to be
that's a really important one. That's great. That we love to hear about that. Where can people find you? Because obviously you've got to be out there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So Instagram, it's _Amber Lilly with 2 L's. There is a really famous Amber Lilly with 1 L.
Yeah.
Don't follow her.
No.
Follow me.
We don't like.
We are not shouting her out.
We actually are having her on the show next week.
Really, she's actually Canadian. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Although I suppose over Zoom anything's possible. But yeah, do it. Amber Lilly with 2 L's. Amber Lilly Music _ Amber Lilly Music _ is my Instagram. Amber Lilly Music on Facebook, and just Amber Lilly with 2 L's on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, all streaming platforms. I do have TikTok, but I don't really use it.
It's a weird world.
TikTok, man.
I try so hard, but I find it so hard to do social media. I hate hi guys.
Yeah,
I'm doing. I'm not very good at that. So.
We've posted the dumbest stuff on TikTok and it blows. It does so much better.
Yeah, I need to. But I'm on my own, so if you just do dumb stuff on your own, it's not as fun. Whereas you, as a collective, have.
We have Danny B just uses all of our content.
Yeah. So yeah, I need to get better at that. Definitely, that's something I need to do. That's my goal for this year, to be more present on social media.
Oh, that's a good goal. I like that. And you got loads of songs coming out as well, which we're really, really excited for. Well done. Congratulations on the EP launch.
Hang on, Danny B.
The success of that has been great to watch. And I see your streams have blown up now since you got
I know, crazy. I've never had more than 1,000 monthly listeners, and I think I checked. And the other night when I saw you, it was on like 3,900.
Yeah, it's
it was on like 4K earlier or something.
Something like really what are we on now? Let's have a look. 4,691. Yeah. So when this airs, we'll see what I'm on then.
It's on a really good.
Crazy. How is there
really
4,000 people in this world that are listening to my songs?
Yeah, there should be more.
And only 200 of them are in the UK, so I'm like, it's not actually my friends. It's random like people in Mexico. They love it. Yeah, fine by me.
That's so cool.
On Spotify, I have a really important question. We get everyone to add 2 songs to our Shout Out Podcast playlist.
Okay.
We always add one ourselves from our guests, so we'll add one of your songs, but you can choose a song of yours and then another song that you really like. It can be a massive artist, it could be an independent artist. There could be 2 of your own if you want 2 of your own on there.
Can't be doing that. Okay. So
we did on the first episode. We just chose to add all 3 of No Rest for Spacemen songs on the playlist, which is really against the motto of the podcast.
Other local musicians. I'm going to try. So there's this lovely duo called Why Not. You must have met them at the Pipe.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely love them. Their harmonies are beautiful. Everything they do is awesome, and they released this new EP. I think I've got it here somewhere. There she is.
Hey.
Oh wow.
Why Not's new EP, and they basically done covers of all local musicians'
Mm.
own songs. So none of them their own. They're all written by other local singer-songwriters, and they like made this whole EP, and they're like now preparing for the next one. And one of my songs is on it, so I'm very excited.
Nice.
But there's one song that they do in particular that always makes me happy, and it's called "I Don't Have the Blues," and it's by Why Not, and it's such a great song, and it
Got
just
it.
really puts me in a happy space.
Good stuff.
And another artist who I really love is at the moment, well, forever, but right currently, Mel Quinn. She's another great
Yeah.
artist. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's
I
another
haven't.
local musician in the circuit.
Mm.
And there's a song called Tiny Little Den, Tiny Little Den, Lil Den.
Yep.
And that's another one that really makes me happy. She's such an
Yeah.
awesome person. So yeah, Why Not and Mel Quinn, they're
Yep.
my nominees.
Love it.
Both in
Thank you
there.
so much for adding those. We're going to listen to them. We're going to listen to all of the music on the playlist and all of your music again because it is incredible.
Thank you so much.
We love it so much. Thank you so much, Amber Lily, for coming on. You've been an
Thank you.
excellent guest. And thank you guys for watching the next episode of the Shout Out podcast. It's been so much fun to talk to Amber and learn about all the cool stuff she's doing, crushing the local scene, crushing the scene. It's great to watch it all happen. Thank you so much. I've been Danny V. That's Dan Wood. Take it easy and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.